So we got some interesting news today. One that I'm actually very excited to talk about, but also at the same time excited is a little worried. And this is going to be discussing about Bioware's veteran producer is working on a Star Wars game. Now, if you read in the title, it doesn't say new, but we can kind of guess it's new because we haven't seen it released yet or anything really about it. And this is probably like the first time that we'll ever hear about it. And there's a cat in the background. So with me, I'm always excited to hear more new Star Wars news or anything Bioware related because, we're kind of in this just quiet zone until E3 comes around. And I know there have been things about Battlefield 5 and then Anthem, of course, is the big talk. And then some things here and there on Dragon Age Dragon Age 4, although not very concrete details. We don't even have a proper release date or really anything, to be honest. Just that some studio staff being like skeleton crew, and then not even really knowing, to be honest, not even really knowing exact details compared to like story and everything. I know I released a video talking about that for a leak, but it could all have been fabricated, and for not, there's a lot of things that you can just take with a grain of salt. So in all honesty, we haven't heard really truly anything from the developers of Bioware for these big titles. So now, a veteran producer, Blair Brown, who has been, working 6 years on Bioware-related games, Dragon Age Inquisition, Anthem, and then what else? What else do we got here? There's a little tweet. Mass Effect Andromeda. Eesh. But so he's been at the company for 6 years. So he was there for the whole development cycle of Mass Effect Andromeda, which was 5 years. So, what does this guy want to do now? Well, I guess he had his fair share of how Bioware was really going in the deep end. But I guess he wanted to shift his focus on a Star Wars game. And then we all know how EA is with their Star Wars titles. Battlefront 1 and 2, for example. And then getting rid of, this is just Disney getting rid of LucasArts. Star Wars 1313 is gone. And then Visceral Studios is no longer working on their third-person Star Wars game, which have been really awesome. The footage that we saw, just a little hint, looked amazing. But, we're not going to ever see that again. But the good news about this game, which I'm really excited about on whatever he's working on, is going to be a third-person title. And by the way, Star Wars, a lot of big Star Wars games have always been third-person for the most part. I don't know if you count Dark Forces games to be third-person because it's first-person, but you can go into third-person, kind of like you do in Elder Scrolls games. Force Unleashed 1 and 2 was third-person. Jedi Academy was third person, and then there's Jedi Knight, which is also third person, which is great. Third person Star Wars games are awesome, and then of course, one of the most beloved games of all time and RPGs of all time is Knights of the Republic, which was developed by Bioware. Oh yeah, and then you can't forget Jade Empire. So a lot of Bioware's big RPGs or a lot of Star Wars games have been third person. So we're just going to stick with the Star Wars thing. They have been third person, and they've all been really entertaining, really great, although some are more underrated than others, and some of them aren't perfect games, or they haven't aged well, like Dark Forces 2. Oof. Yeah, that's like Final Fantasy 7 for PC games, I guess. But this is great because maybe this is going to be a guy who's actually going to go and make a good Star Wars title for once in our entire lives. Because it's been a long time. Failed promises on Battlefront 1. Failed promises on Battlefront 2. Loot crates has very heavily destroyed the Star Wars shooter genre for... Not destroy, but just really put a dent in it. Maybe a hole, because a lot of people stopped playing that game. Well, also as soon as The Last Jedi came out, because that movie was garbage, but that's just my opinion, another video for another time. You can think on it as you will. But for the truth of the matter is, it polarized a lot of people. So Battlefront 2, combination with Last Jedi, polarized a lot of Star Wars fans. It polarized me because I was ready for this big time, awesome Star Wars first person shooter game. And, we haven't gotten a lot of those lately, We haven't gotten a lot of big shooter Star Wars games in a long time. And 1313 was going to be that other one, but you know how that turned out. So, in light of this situation, like I said, since Visceral Games was that third-person Star Wars game, well, whatever company is going to be working on this... Oh, Respawn, that's what it is. Sorry. So the same guys who made Titanfall 1 and 2. Now, Titanfall 1 was okay for the most part, but it lacked a lot of content and story, kind of like Battlefront 1 did. But Titanfall 2 came out, although bad timing, because it came out during a Call of Duty game and a Battlefield game, which EA published a Battlefield game and a Titanfall game the same month, which is really retarded and really bad on a financial approach. But you know, what are you gonna do? But Titanfall 2 apparently is really a really fun and great game, and it's got great customization options. It does what shooter games should be doing now with its customization options and content unlock and progressional system. You know, kind of like how we used to get with like the first and second generation Call of Duty games, like Call of Duty 4, Modern Warfare 2, that type of customization. You get the idea. Or Black Ops 1. Now Black Ops 4 doesn't have story. Whoa. Anyway. But yeah, this is going to be exciting. The story, from what I heard from Titanfall 2, is pretty good. Although short and sweet, but it was way better than the story we got for Battlefront 2. You can look up countless videos of, especially Actman, who did a review on Battlefront 2 if you really want to know true facts about it. No bullshitting, okay? No fluffing. Then yeah, please, by all means, check out the Actman video. I'll post a link below. But other than that, let's hope that this is going to be... I would love for this game to be a Star Wars game. Big time. I would love if Blair Brown, on whatever Respawn is doing, they make an RPG type Star Wars game, or even a third-person shooter Star Wars game would be fine, since Respawn has a knack for making shooter games. So far. And Respawn is like a branching company from Call of Duty, original Call of Duty team back in the day. But still, some companies do a good job from going from shooter to RPG. It could happen. It'd be a nice change of pace. So it's really exciting to see how this turns out. So Blair Brown, I wish you the best of luck, sir. I hope all of the people watching wish you the best of luck. Try your best not to put loot crates in it. Hopefully EA doesn't, if they put loot crates in it, make it for cosmetic purposes only. I don't know if it's going to be a single player. I hope it's a single player game with a narrative like Uncharted or God of War. Oh my god, the narrative in those games are amazing. Or the narrative of like Knights of the Republic. Maybe we'll get a Knights of the Republic 3. I'm just spitballing here. Probably not going to happen, considering we haven't heard anything about it. Just what people are dreaming that they want it to happen. But if you're really craving Knights of the Republic, you can always play the first 2 games. And then if you really want to play the next gen looking Knights of the Republic, you just wait for that Hyperion mod coming out for KOTOR 1, which is heavy in development. It's taken a long time, but when it comes out, it'll be definitely worth it. It'll be amazing to play and stream. So, how do you guys feel about this big time guy? Well, I only first heard about him once I read this article, but I'm sure he's a big guy. Being a producer is a big deal on a Star Wars game, which Star Wars and EA and anything Bioware related has all been this triangle of disappointment. So let's just hope. Let's just hope that it comes to be something good. So I'd like to hear what you guys think about that. And did Battlefront 2 did it polarize you to not want to play any more Star Wars games from EA, considering that loot crate? How has it affected you? I would like to know. I tell you what, it affected me big time because I barely played anymore. But Han Solo is season, so hey, look, a map that just came out called Jabba's Palace. Wow, that's really cool. Now we just need Cloud City and Cloud City. Cloud City. Yeah, Cloud City. Anyway, I hope you guys did enjoy. I have been NikoTheLegend, the Snowflake, and the well-mannered teenager. See, I did my introduction as an outro this time.